Hello and welcome to 15-Minute Coffee. My name is Alan O'Donovan and I'm here today with Jack Commons. Welcome, Jack.
Hello, how are you?
Not too bad. How are you keeping today?
All good, all good. Another first, as I said.
Yeah,
First time
yeah.
podcast.
Bit outside your comfort zone, but no harm.
Maybe, but look, it's all part of the experience. So.
So I suppose we will start with a quick, just give the listeners a intro on yourself and who you are and what your story is.
Yeah, I am Jack Commons, obviously, as you said. I am from Greystones. I've lived here my whole life. I'm a maths teacher, and I am running in the elections in June for the local elections to be a local councillor for Fianna Fáil. So my first time stepping into the world of politics.
And what was the inspiration behind that move?
I've always been that probably annoying kid, as my dad would say, that would like push the boat out and ask questions why. Like always just sort of, I don't know, question on authority, you could say. Was I was the class rep through school, or the class rep during college, or student council, all these sort of things. I was always the person going for that, or just happy to have my voice heard, or happy to just basically question why are things the way they are, or like why can't we improve things. um I was presented with Young Entrepreneur of the Year last year at an award ceremony by a bunch of the ministers and councillors, and it sort of got the ball rolling with asking would I consider this, because again, like I've always considered it, but it was sort of right place, right time. That the elections are this June. It fell like a correct time in life where I just had a baby last summer, so he's one at this time, which is look, it's not easy, but everything sort of lined up perfectly to say, figure like let's give it our best shot, give it a one off, and let's see how we go. So that's the route that's brought me here.
And I suppose it's it's something that a lot of people think about, I'd say, but as you said, it's a big step to actually think about it. And
there was a lot of that, a lot of him and hawing about will I do it. Even when I was approached about it, it was still like, Jesus, I want to commit to this now. It was last January. I think it was last January I was presented the award, and as I said, probably 2-3 months of him and hawing, and then eventually Stephen Donnelly brought me into the Dáil to meet himself and give me a tour of all that, and it was really like hit home that the support will be there. They are backing me. There's a great chance of this, and the current Fianna Fáil councillor is retiring, and it was like there was a gap open there. It wasn't a case of like trying to beat out who's already there as well. So things aligned correctly. And as you said, it's like a lot of people would talk about it, and that's been the thing on the door is like, oh, like, are you mad to do it? Or like people giving out about it and all. But it comes down to that, like, if you want to see a change, you're going to have to step up and do it. And for our generation, no one at the moment is doing it. So I'd say I'm the youngest by probably 10 years running. And yeah, it is, as you said, it's put your money where your mouth is and make sure, like, if you're going to do it, step up and do it. Don't just talk about it or give out about it. So,
yeah, and I think just briefly, I just want to touch on that point. You mentioned there Young Entrepreneur of the Year. So that's, I suppose, being that is being an entrepreneur is putting in action and seeing a problem and fixing it. So just briefly, do you want to touch on that and what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So I obviously finished school. I went into a business degree, and I worked for a company, and I could see, I don't know, ways I would have done it differently. Let's say I wouldn't say they were doing anything wrong because they were doing it well, but I just saw that like there's potential there. So like at 21, I set up my first company. It was a Spanish school. I brought in Spanish students from Valencia, and they lived in Ireland for the summer, and like that was brilliant. That ran for like 4 years, and then COVID struck and put a stop to that, which was fine. And then again, sitting there in COVID, I always find it quite hard to sit still on a project or without having a project to be done. So during COVID, I set up a little Instagram page because the school I was in was a deaf school. The kids didn't have access to Zoom or like what other kids would have been using. So it was trying to like, how can I get a class across that would suit? And I figured, look, they all have social media. So I set up a little Instagram page, and I started like uploading solutions there because I figured they could watch it in their own time. And there was about 20 kids in my class, and within a week, within a month, let's say, there was probably 200 followers on this Instagram page. So I knew they all couldn't be from my class. So it was a case of, well, people are obviously interested in watching this. So just put the head down then and decided to turn it into a website. So it was all just maths solutions. So I did every past paper for the past 10 years in maths, leaving cert, junior cert, higher level, ordinary level. And in a few clicks, it would bring you to that question. So you'd open up the website, click leaving cert, paper 1, question 2, higher level, whatever it was. And there was a video of me talking through it. So by the end of the summer, I had 60 hours of content uploaded. And to say I was sick of my own voice was an understatement, but chatting away, recording it, snipping them up, uploading them, it just became so monotonous. But by the end of it, it was good. And come Christmas the next year, it was, there was like well over 1,500 kids across the country using it. So I had like email addresses from schools up in Buncrana and Donegal, Cove and Cork. Like it had spread all over the country, which was great. And then the second lockdown hit, and I had parents reaching out being like, my kids aren't studying, kids are really falling behind in school, like they don't enjoy the Zoom aspect. So I ended up just creating a bunch of codes to give kids free access to it. And I was using like the open forum in Greystones and just threw them up. I said, look, if anyone locally needs this for their kids, feel free to use it. And just as a token on the website, when you were creating the codes, it would say like how many codes you want to use, and I would just throw in a random number. I just threw in 500 just to fill the entry, and within 48 hours, all 500 of them have been used up. Like Jesus. It really just blew up, and people were really appreciative of getting lovely messages off people. And yeah, that's what that came from. And again, that's now another project that I've left behind. It's now a free to use website that's being run by someone else. So again, happy to see it being used. The content's still there. It's still my voice that I'm listening to, but it's not me backing it now, so I can focus on another project.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and it's as I say, it's putting action in, putting where you were
absolutely
So just I suppose it links in nicely there, but spoken a lot about the importance of local schools, and as a teacher, I suppose it's an important point for you. But do you want to elaborate on sort of the challenges like Greystone schools in particular are facing? And
look, it's one of the probably like most common things that we all go through is going to school, and like your experiences in school are going to dictate sort of where you progress in life. I know that's not for everybody, but for a vast majority of people, it is your shaping years of where you're going to end up. And as I said, I worked locally in a local school, and I seen what the overcrowding looked like from the inside. And when you have bigger class sizes, you're not able to give the one-to-one attention a kid might need, or not need, but deserves, and like being able to help them along the way. So the overcrowding in schools has become a massive issue. And again, the parents at the moment don't have spots for their kids, or they're not guaranteed spots for their kids, or siblings are being sent to different schools, or like there's 20 kids currently, I believe, without a spot for September. And again, like it all lends back to like mental health and making sure all the kids are doing well. And if those 20 kids are sitting in the playground and they don't know where they're going, their friends are talking about what they're going to do in September, what classes they're taking, and then that one kid is left waiting. Like it all leads back to like well-being for the kids, making sure that like they're looked after. And obviously not having a place is a big issue, but even at that, even if you do get a place and the school is overcrowded, like sitting in a class with 30 people and being like, I don't know, shy in the corner and not want to having your voice heard, like they're all issues that stem from having like adequate places, like correct facilities and resources. And like obviously parents are well aware that there isn't enough places, but like having seen it from the inside, I can see how important it is to ensure that this like issue is tackled and just not let ride for another year, please God.
Yeah, I think it's like you said, it's such an important. The kids are the future of our community, and making sure that they sort of feel like they're heard in school makes a huge difference, not only then but also in their future. So yeah,
like it's the biggest thing in their life. Like for the 6 years that they're in there, 5 years they skip TY, but like you spend 14 of your first 18 years in school. Like it's pretty much all you know. So if you're having a bad time at it or something's not working, like it can cause massive issues, and it's just essential that you get that nailed down. Like school should be the best years of your life, as we're told as we grow up. and like it stemmed from having, as I said, correct management of it and strategies in place to ensure everyone is getting the best time they possibly can out of it.
And what can be done there, I suppose, to support schools?
Yeah, like there's no magic wand. Like we can't just say that like I'll throw up another school. Like I don't have that sort of power at all. But having worked in local schools, like I've been lucky enough to meet multiple of the local principals over the years, and like I would say it starts by having like a cross school forum between the principals, making sure that they're all lining up together, making sure that they all have a common enrollment policy, everyone's reading off the same playbook, and then again talking about like the well-being of the kid who doesn't have the place. It should very much be a case of like no kid gets offered their place until everyone has a place. Like the schools should be talking to each other and be like, okay, are we all sorted, are we all lined up, has every kid who applied has a spot, before they issue them, before there's a kid talking about, oh, I didn't get my email today or I haven't been told anything. Like make sure everyone is lined up somewhere before the invitations are sent out. And absolutely, if there's chopping and changing after that, at least you're guaranteed a spot somewhere before you try and move. Like you need to be told you're in somewhere, and like have that to fall back on. Like I think that is probably the main starting point, is making sure that no kid is left behind. After that, if the logistics of moving a kid around, that's fine. At least they have somewhere to fall back on. If they're not happy with where they are, that's a different story than not having somewhere to go at all. So I just think that it comes down to communication between the principals, and I'm not saying they don't talk to each other already. Like I know these are like fantastic principals; they are really, really good workers. But it's just trying to like offer an external voice on that. Like obviously, I'm a young kid myself. I've lived here my whole life. I understand the logistics of getting to and from different schools and where kids want to be, and like maybe it's just a different set of eyes to the same challenge that they're facing. Just trying to be there to assist them. Let's say, I wouldn't say it would be anyway trying to manage the system, but just trying to assist them and offer advice and trying to get everyone, like we're all fighting the same fight here, trying to get the best for the kids. So he's just trying to get that across and being another set of eyes on it.
100%. And I think you mentioned there you've been in Greystones your whole life, and one thing which is I've also been in Greystones my whole life, and one thing which is great about Greystones is the local transport. But sometimes it can fail us, and I think an example 100%. Of that is the weekend there just gone. The Dart wasn't running, and
100%.
There was shuttle buses, and there was other things put in place. But I think that just shows, the as you said there, maybe joined up thinking wasn't there. So in terms of local transport, how do you see that? How can you sort of help better serve? How can you see transport better serving the community?
Absolutely. Look, they go hand in hand with each other. If kids have to get to school and you have one kid in one school, another kid in another school, and the parents are trying to get to both places, it's just going to cause further congestion. And then in the same breath, if the parents can't rely on a bus service to get their kid to school, there's more congestion, which is all then going to lead on to like negativity for the environment, like the emissions from the cars. So like they are very much two issues that are in tandem with each other. The parents need to be able to rely on the bus service. The kids need to be able to rely on it. I was going to college myself. I needed to rely on it. Like it is something that I've experienced firsthand. I got the bus to school every day, and I ended up having to get a lift to a bus stop across the town in order to make sure I got a spot on the bus, because back then it was the buses, and not even back then, it still is an issue that buses are overcrowded before they get through the route. So like these all need to be thought through, and like whether it be a case of putting a double decker on the route versus a single decker, or putting on an extra service at peak times. And like the Dart is a perfect example that like is it 7:55? I think it is. The Dart going northbound like is just jammers, and by the time it like gets, and like if you miss that one, you're not going to be on time for work because of the whole Greystones Bray issue. So I think there is so many issues there, and as I said, I've experienced them firsthand, which I think lends itself to making it a lot easier for me. Like I think of all the candidates in that are running, I'm the youngest obviously by a mile, but like the issues that are facing the local people, like I've experienced them firsthand in recent years. So it's very much trying to tackle problems that were facing me, not just hearing them from like people in the constituency. But like as another example, I know that the last train or our last Dart arrives in, And the bus going like south to Kilcool has left the station like 5 minutes before the train pulls in, and all these timetables that are in the bus are on the bus stops and in the Dart station, like they're all automatic. Like it doesn't take much to link up them services and be like, okay, the train is going to be here in 3 minutes. Like hold the bus for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like it's this cohesion between services that needs to exist. And I understand other issues like the train getting to, or the Dart getting all the way down to Bray, down all the way to Kilcool. Like it doesn't make sense to stop it. If it can work, like put the money into it, it will help people. If we're the last stop on the line, if you live south of here, and I know they're outside the constituency, but it's still an issue that's local. If you lived in Arklow or Rathrum or Rathnew or Wicklow Town and you're trying to get to town, you're going to come to the last stop to jump on the Dart.
Yeah.
There's more parking issues locally. There's more congestion in the town. So by linking it one step further, there's another place for people to park, another like place for people to access the train. So there's so much like planning that can go into this, but it is very much like pushing the issues, making sure that we're trying to tackle the issues at hand and just trying to improve the service for everybody.
Yeah, and I think one thing that sort of came up again and again there is the idea of joined up thinking, and I think common sense comes into a lot of it, and just seeing the issue that is at hand and working to fix it. And I think another huge concern and issue which people see is housing. And I know you're a first time homebuyer, so you, as you said, have first time experience, or you have first hand experience of that. So what do you sort of see? What do you see as possible for you to achieve? And how do you sort of see your role in?
Yeah, like in my opinion, like not even in my opinion, I think it's quite an obvious opinion that like the housing is a national issue. It's far more macro than it is micro. Like it's not a case of me saying, "Oh, I'll fix it for Greystones." Like it's impossible for me to say something like that. And I know there's people who are making claims that, "Oh, every house will be 300 grand." Like it's just absolutely impossible to say that'll happen. If you made every house in Greystones 300 grand, what's going to happen to me or everyone else who has a mortgage where we're paying off a house that's more than 300 grand? Like we're just going to be a negative equity straight away. You're going to be bankrupting people. It's just never going to happen. You can't just tell me that, oh, every house is 300 grand. The people who have been lucky enough to buy a beautiful house down the Burnaby, your house is now worth, like, it just doesn't work like that. Like, it's farcical to think that that's what the alternative is. Like, it comes down to supply and demand. If people want to live in a lovely area, you're going to pay the money to do so. If you want to live down the seafront, down by St. David's, looking over the ocean, if you can afford it, fair play to you. Like, best of luck with your job. But like, I feel like people deserve like the houses they can afford. If like, geez, I wish for a second I could buy one of those houses, but it's not in my price realm, and there's only so few of them, and there is your supply and demand issue. Like, there's so few of those houses, of course they're going to be worth a lot of money. All I can offer to people on the housing crisis is to be educated on what is available to us. And like, there is so many schemes available. There is like the first time buyers, there's like so many things that people can avail of. And I think that for me, the best I can offer to local people is to be educated on these schemes. If someone is trying to go down the route of buying a house and they're asking me, what can I avail of, or how does this work, or how do I apply for this? Like, that's where I can come into it. It's being able to connect people, whether that be with the council, with the party, which like on a national level. It's just trying to help people in whatever way I can. I can't say, oh, I'm going to bring the price of the house down for you. But I can say, like, this is how you get on the scheme. Like, this is the forms you need to fill out, or like, have you thought about this option? Or like that's where I can see myself helping people in that issue. As I said, micro versus macro. Like, I'm trying to help the people in Greystones, the people in Greystones, Kilcool, Newtown, Killadreen, and Newcastle, the works, all the way up. And it's just that. It's just trying to tackle issues that, like, manageable. Like, trying to go after issues that I can help with, not trying to tell you that I'm going to wave a magic wand and everyone's going to have a house. Like that's the approach I'd be going on. That is like Pat Casey just did some brilliant workshops up and down Wicklow, and he came and he met people. He had all the forms ready, and if people were on the route of buying houses, he had all the research done. He had PowerPoint presentations, talking people through how best to approach the situation, having the forms ready, having the guidance and advice, and having he had people from banks in to talk to people. Like, that's the sort of approach I'd be taking, is having agendas like that, having meetings where if you're stuck or you're going down a route, let's have a chat first so that you have all your information ready to go.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing which I have seen in your campaign and attracted me to your campaign. It's the practicality of it, and it's I think you're realistic in what
the realistic world of it, like.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. I think how I see local politicians, and I think how local politicians should be seen as a representative of the community, and also a support of the community and everyone within it. So that means being practical and actually.
Yeah, and you feel like if all I can be is a bridge between the council and the person who's applying, like if that's what I can be, and I'm like connecting two people, like that's enough for me. Like, I'm happy to be that person that, oh, my application hasn't been processed yet, will you check on it? Like, that sort of stuff. Like, it's knowing that, like, as you said, realistic is the right word. It's like having realistic expectations about what you can achieve. And as I said, I'm not going to be putting on my leaflets that I'm going to solve the housing crisis and everything's going to be 300 grand. Like, it's just not going to happen through voting for a local councillor. As much as I would love to say everyone will be in the house next year, like, it's just not in my realm of like what I can do.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about you again. And you've been involved in, I suppose, a lot of great things in Greystones. So I know you're involved in Aerogue and Rugby Club and plenty of other things. So how was your sort of experience of these clubs, societies? How has that shaped your understanding of the local area, and how do you sort of plan on working with these organizations?
Yeah, like as I said, I grew up in Greystones. I love everything about Greystones. Like myself and Zoe and Ollie, like we spend our weekends just walking the seafront. And like Zoe will jokingly say, like, I wonder how many people we're going to talk to today. And like it all comes back to that. Like I've played for every team in the town. I've even played baseball with the Mariners and won in All Ireland. Like stuff people don't do. Like I was in the athletics club, as I said, aero, rugby club, soccer club, the works. Like, and again, no reason other than I loved every minute of it. Like my school life was finished school and had a different activity on every day. Like I like stem down to scouts, and you had as I said, all the different sports. And I love that. I love walking around the town and seeing different people, like whether it be from any background, and it could be someone I golfed with, it could be someone I played soccer with when I was 10, whoever it is. Like walking down the main street, as I said, I might have Ollie on my shoulders and someone just gives you a wave or a smile. It might not be someone you've seen in a long time, but like it's so uplifting. It is that community aspect that I'm after. And like, geez, if I could pick one thing that I'd love to see, like growing up, I'm sure you remember the arts festival and like the fireworks down the harbour before it was all renovated. Like stuff like that was like our childhood, like sitting down, watching the fireworks, having your chips and Joe Sweeney's. And it was that like spirit of Greystones that I'd love to like work and bring back. And I know there's some brilliant groups that are working together. Like I was involved in the Paddy's Day parade and the organising of that. And it was brilliant. Like I was on the start line, I was sending everyone off, making sure we're all in order. And I had the opportunity to call like each of the acts, and we're making sure everyone knows what number they're in. And again, not a single person had a bad word to say. Everyone smiling on the start line, delighted, waving you off, the kids waving. And it's that sort of community vibe that needs to be kept. Like the town is growing year on year by the thousands, but it's just trying to hold on to that spirit. And you're seeing the schools go up to Main Street, the clubs go up to Main Street, all the workshops, all the groups, whether it be the men's shed or the archers or anything at all. Like it's just trying to maintain this spirit of the town. And like whatever, like the T or the rise of the T Glen, rise of the Cove, like the under Strictly Come Dancing. Like I was lucky enough to do that in Air Ogue a few years ago, and like you're all just coming together. And the people that came out of the woodworks to donate money to us, like again, just you'd be surprised how great people are.
Mm.
May not be showing it off and publicizing it, but people are always willing to help. And
Mm.
people are like, whether that be like a cash donation, like we're all not lucky enough to be able to just throw money at things. Like it's not about that, but whether it be like, oh, like a bake sale, like, oh, I'll happily bake you some food and sell the cakes and do that sort of way. Like people are always willing to contribute in their own little way. I just think it's like very important that as the town grows, we still hold on to what we had, and it is that like small little fishing community on the beach where like we're blessed to live here.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's couldn't agree more on all of that. I think going down to more rural areas and sort of smaller towns, say in the west or south, sort of you do see the difference in that, you know, everyone knows each other, and I think that's how Greystones used to be, and I think the growth of Greystones is amazing, and it shows how lucky we are to be in such a great area. But I think having that growth and the increase doesn't mean that we have to lose the feeling of being in a community and everyone sort of coming together.
Absolutely.
So
remember, this is an example. Like you reached out to me, and it's like just different members of the community from different like walks of life. It's like coming together for a common goal, making sure that we're all like going in the same direction. Like it is about, as I said, the commonality, making sure everybody is battling like the same thing. We're all trying to make this a better place to live, and it's whether that be just a simple smile at someone and a wave walking down the street. Like you might be brightening up someone's day. You don't know what people are going through. And it could just be that. It could just be a simple wave in the coffee shop down the seafront. Someone might be out clearing their head after a bad day, and giving someone that nod or that wave, like it might mean the world to them. And I think that's what a community or town is all about. Is like being there for each other. And like the summer months here are beautiful. Like you're walking down the main street and every restaurant is packed and people are sitting out having their beers, and like that's all well and good. Everyone can enjoy that, but like it needs to be kept up for the 12 months of the year, not just when things are sunny down the seafront. Like it's getting out for a walk on any day you possibly can and enjoying where we live. Like we're blessed to have such a lovely place to be. Like
yeah, and I think one thing I always take pride in is walking along the seafront and seeing in the morning, seeing everyone getting to sea, and I think that sort of community of sea swimming is a real microcosm of what the community should be and could be.
Absolutely.
So final question, Jack. I know you're, as you said, the youngest candidate running.
I think I am. I'm not gonna, don't quote me on it. I think I
am. Young candidate anyway. So how do you plan to encourage more young people like myself in Greystones and I suppose surrounding areas to get more involved in local politics and in the community as you're talking about?
Yeah, I think, like, to be honest, on the doors, the reaction when we're knocking the canvassing has been, I'd say 75% of people have been like, I'm just delighted to see someone young, someone willing to step up. Like, I'm not saying that I'm the bravest man in the world at all, but I happily could have not done this and just stayed at home with Ollie. And like, I love my job, everything is going good, but it comes down to the fact that, like, it's not you or I, like, well, it is you and I, but people giving out about our circumstances. The cliff walk is closed. And I get it. There's issues around and there's reasons for things. But like, if you're not willing to put yourself out there and be there, like trying to make it a change, it's all well and good sitting on Twitter and giving out about things, but like actively trying to make the difference is, I feel like it is going to be our generation. Like there's politicians who've gone before us. There's like Jerry as an example who's retiring. Like Jerry has done his time. Like Jerry was detective sergeant in the town, contributed massively in that front. Went on, did 10 years as a councillor. He's done his time. Like I'm 30, Ollie's 7 months old, 8 months old. Like it's our future that's going to be dictated by the work that's done. And if it's not young people stepping up, like why would Jerry worry about the playground? Do you know what I mean? He's not going to bring kids down there. And not that he wouldn't worry about it, but it's more first hand for us. Like if we know these are the things that need to be fixed, like actively step up and push it and do it. And I think it really comes down to, and I've had some brilliant people out canvassing with me who I 100% would think be brilliant at this job. But I think it just takes, as we said at the very beginning of this, it takes your all. Like, you really have to commit to it and be like, okay, I am doing it. Like, I've been working on this for 15 months at this stage. We've 10 weeks left to go. It was an absolute slog, win, lose or draw. I've loved every minute of it, but like, I just don't want to leave anything behind and have any regrets. Like, hence doing every little bit I can, meeting all the different people, canvassing as many nights as we can. And I just think that it is going to take our generation to step up. Like, the lads that are out canvassing with me are like much older than me. I've been lucky enough to have probably 5 or 6 friends who've been great and came out with me canvassing. But it's not a universal thing that people are stepping up and, oh, I'll definitely go out and do that with you. It's not our generational's, I don't know, ethos. It's not something that our generation wants to do. And I think the trend needs to change. Like, it'll be interesting to see in 10 years' time who's running again. Like, 5 years out of the elections, but give it 10, 15 years, you're going to need more young blood coming through there to obviously first challenge whoever is in there, but to look after the young people's views. I just think it's really important that people do get involved in politics, question the issues, like try and make a change and try and influence it all.
Yeah. I think you spoke there about sort of stepping up and bringing it in, and I think that runs through everything we spoke about in the last half an hour. Like, it is about taking action and being the person to say, I will get involved. I will, going outside the norm. Because I think for our generation, I think it's easy to sort of say, oh, someone else will do that. The people ahead of us, they've been doing it. We sort of we can take a back seat here. But I think it's getting to a stage now where it's like, these people are, as you said, Jerry, they're stepping back, and there's no one there to step up. And I think you're sort of a great example of that. And without blowing smoke, I think from the last few weeks, seeing you and working sort of not too much alongside, but seeing you and helping you in a small way, but seeing how you are willing to push yourself and go outside, like this podcast, for example. I think you didn't have to sort of come on and chat, and it just shows you're willing to go outside your comfort zone. And I think bringing that into politics and bringing that into your campaign is really going to be exciting.
Yeah, like, I from the very first day, like I was asked how I want to do things, and like one of the biggest things I hit on was being being contactable. Like, I don't want to be a person who's, oh, I'll get back to you in 3 to 5 days via email. Like, I've been pushing the whole, like, WhatsApp me. Like, I'll reply to you in a voice note instantly. Like, if you send me a message, it'll be on the tip of my tongue. If I have to look up something, that's different. But if I can get back to you, I'll get back to you. And if I'm getting back to you saying, give me a day and I'll give you a better answer. But it's just having that person, a point of contact that people can reach out to. The first thing on everything I published, whether it be like Instagram pictures are putting up, I had business cards made, I had flyers made, was my phone number. And I want people to be like, oh, like, there is a number that I can contact. Like, I don't want it to just be a person hidden behind a picture or behind an email being like, oh, that's the councillor or whatever. I want to be a number people have on their phone. There's an issue, pick it up. And again, it is just a new young age of doing things. Like, if you WhatsApp me a picture of something and I can just very quickly forward on to the relevant person in the council, it's a lot easier of a process than like back and forth over email. And it's just like being, I don't know, a new younger eyes on the same set of problems. Like, it's going to be the same issues existing, whether it be, I don't know, burst water mains or traffic lights out of action or whatever it is. If you are at the traffic lights and you WhatsApp to me and I can send it on to the relevant person in the council, we could be done in a minute. Like, and then it'll be actionable and things will be happening. Versus if you do it, you're annoyed at this, you get home, you get in your computer, you send me an email, I'll send you back an email, I'll go back and take a picture of it and send it on to me. Like, the chain there is too long, and it doesn't need to be. Like, technology has advanced so much that in 2 clicks, you take a picture, you send it to me, I have it, I forward it on to the relevant person, now things are happening. And it's just trying to change that action. And like to give you a quote that I've said from the beginning is that, like, if I'm willing to reach out to you, like you helping me here today, whether it be anyone I'm going to be texting over the next number of weeks, that if I'm willing to reach out and text you, like, know that I'm going to be there at the end of this if you need something. Like, if I'm willing to ask you for my vote, like, know that I'm going to be there if you need something to contact me about. And I think it's really trying to get that across to people that, like, it's an ask. Like, like the whole point of all this is, like, I need your votes. It's not a case of, like, oh, this all went great, like, see us in June. It's like, if you don't get out and vote for me, all this will be in vain. And it's a case of, again, asking you to vote for me is very much a case of, like, leaving it with you. I've asked you for my vote. You can contact me when you need something. And it is what I'm trying to stress to people.
Yeah, I love that. Very practical, very realistic. Yeah. I think one thing, your name is Jack Commons, and I think you have a lot of common sense. I've been trying to say that.
I'm sure the Greystones guide or something will have something like that in there.
Yeah, anyway, 100%. Anyway, thanks a million, Jack, for coming on. Really appreciate it. And as I say, I'm looking forward to seeing how you push on the next 10 weeks.
Yeah, please God. 9 weeks to go, and it is very much a case to leave nothing behind, leave no stone unturned, keep knocking on every door.
Perfect. Thanks a million, Jack.
Super. Thanks, Al. Appreciate your time.